The UN Secretary-General addressed Thursday's meeting of the Security Council and confirmed that a third humanitarian ceasefire and evacuation operation was underway in the Mariupol area. Now that's the third such operation following the first at the weekend, which saw more than 100 civilians able to escape the conflict zone, and then a second operation which ended on Wednesday that saw some 300 people able to flee the fighting. Now, Antonio Guterres had said that he was pleased that these operations had seen what he said was some level of success, but really there is a degree of success for him personally in this. He had been facing a great amount of pressure to become more personally involved in the situation in Ukraine, and so he went to Kiev and Moscow last week with the intention of negotiating humanitarian ceasefires. And that is what we are seeing on the ground. And Thursday's meeting was the first chance Antonio Guterres had to address the Security Council personally about his trip.
Throughout my travels, I did not mince words. I said the same thing in Moscow as I did in Kyiv, which is exactly what I have repeatedly expressed in New York, namely that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is a violation of its territorial integrity and of the Charter of the United Nations, and that it must end for the sake of the people of Ukraine, Russia, and the entire world.
Now, the Security Council also heard on Thursday from Michelle Bachelet, the UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights, who had already been very vocal in her criticism of Russia's actions in Ukraine. She also said they were looking into 180 cases of so-called enforced disappearances of local Ukrainian politicians, journalists and activists, and also another 8 cases thought to involve people who were considered pro-Russian as well. She said there was evidence of torture and the summary execution of prisoners of war committed by both parties to the fighting, and she called for perpetrators of human rights violations in the country to be held to account. Now, Russia has denied the allegations against them, saying that Ukraine and the West has fabricated evidence of human rights violations and has spread a false narrative about its actions in Ukraine. Sarah Walton, CGTN, New York.